Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome, everybody, to the first video of the membership side on the Even Your Dynasty show. Welcome anybody that's joined the membership. We really appreciate it. As we kind of laid it out in our video, our live show the other day, we've got a lot of plans with what we're going to be putting in here. First and foremost, though, the first thing I always wanted to offer you guys was kind of detailed prospect breakdowns on these guys. You guys have seen a little bit of what we do in the weekly minor league updates. And every now and then I'll throw some stuff out there, kind of what I'm seeing, but I want to go a little more in depth. I go with the data that is available for me, and then I also use my eyes on how I scout a lot of these guys. So I'm going to give you some numbers. I'll give you what I've seen with these guys. And kicking it off, though, we're going to be doing Drew Cavanaugh. The next one's going to be Giancarlo Sio, and then the following one's going to be Trent Harris. So I want you guys to know we're not just going to do the top-rated prospects. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a focus on the top 30, but we do want to mix a lot of these guys that are really standing out in their own right. And what I want to do is when we get the Discord channel up and running, which should be very soon, you guys are going to have the ability to vote on which prospects are going to be coming next. We'll probably always have like a couple lined up, and then it's going to be, whoever's going to follow that. So we're going to be opening up those polls to you guys. So if there's anybody in particular you really want to hear us do, let us know. Comment on the video. Do all that, and we're happy to, try and put out what you guys are wanting to watch. So, but we're going to kick it off with Drew Cavanaugh. He's 23 years old. He's from Troy, Michigan. Went to Florida Southern, which is a D2 school. Played 46 games there in 2023 as a sophomore, hit .316 with a 1.029 OPS, 12 home runs, 21 extra base hits, and 42 RBIs. The Giants liked him enough to make him their 17th round pick after playing just 1 year of college. He ended up signing for $50,000. It would be interesting to hear, why he opted to sign instead of maybe try and go back and like transfer schools to a D1 or anything like that. But he made the decision to sign. Giants bring him in. 2024, he kind of got limited playing time his first full season with the club. Hit in between San Jose, and they had him kind of, go over to Sacramento a few times in 2024. But he hit .244 with a .697 OPS. That was in 156 at bats, 189 plate appearances, only hit 2 home runs, 9 extra base hits, 24 RBIs, had a 14.3% walk rate, 27.5% K rate. Made in the field, he made 6 errors, 3 pass balls, 15 through 15 out of 49 would-be base stealers out. That's good for 30.6%, which is about average. And that was in 330 defensive innings at catcher. Played in the fall league in 2024. Only played in 9 games, 34 at bats, hit 200 with a .561 OPS. So a little bit of struggles. Kind of what you expect when you draft a guy in the 17th round. But then in 2025, he really took off. And he was a bit of an older player playing down in the lower level. So I'm going to give his full season numbers. And then we're going to jump into, kind of his performance by level. So starting off with the full season, on the year in 2025, he hit .264 with an .849 OPS. That was in 322 at bats, 402 plate appearances, hit 14 home runs, 31 extra base hits, had 65 RBIs, and also swiped 7 bags and that was on 9 attempts. Bumped his walk rate up a little bit. It was 15.2%. Strikeout rate was pretty close to the same at 27.4%. Defensively, he did improve a little bit as far as like pace goes. 9 errors on the year, 6 pass balls, threw out 32 out of 112 stolen base attempts in the minors. Guys do tend to run a little bit more down in the minors. 28.6%. slightly below average there as far as caught stealing percentage goes. That was in 707.2 innings caught. Now, if you do the breakdown, and the first thing I want to highlight with what he did, this is just a cool accomplishment for Drew Cavanaugh. He is the first player that I can remember that hit a home run in every single full season affiliate in one calendar in one season. He did hit one in each of AA and AAA because they pulled him up into AAA a couple times early in the year, and then he just kind of naturally progressed through the system a little bit. But he got a couple runs there. He did hit a homer there, hit one in AA later in the year, and then he hit a handful both in San Jose and Eugene. So a cool accomplishment, something I just wanted to highlight. But as far as the numbers go, in A-ball, 28 games there, he hit 293 with a 1.006 OPS, a 172 WRC plus. So they had him in San Jose. They moved him to Sacramento. They put him back in San Jose. He got a promotion to Eugene, then went to Sacramento again, then back to Eugene. Quite an adventure for him. He got to Eugene, though, played 35 games there, hit 298 with a 903 OPS. That was good for a 148 WRC plus. So he really earned 2 promotions in the system last season, going from San Jose to Eugene and Eugene to Richmond. Now, Richmond, the numbers aren't going to jump out. Did draw quite a few walks, had a home run and a couple doubles in there. But he played in 14 games, only hit 186 with a 677 OPS. That was still good for a 116 WRC plus in AA. So, you look at that number and he still was better than the league average there, but it was a very small sample size. AAA played 14 games, a 184 OPS, 184 average, 510 OPS. That was good for a 35 WRC plus. So he was 65% worse than league average. But as a guy that played there after only really playing in San Jose prior to going to AAA, that is quite a jump in talent. And obviously probably was not at all prepared for that level at that time. Now, where do I expect him next season? And we're going to jump into kind of my thoughts on him as a player and what I've really seen out of him. I expect him to start in AA Richmond next season. And, if he plays really well there, I think we could see him in Sacramento as soon as kind of the tail end or middle to back half of the season next year. So that's kind of where I expect him to be. Now, as a player, first thing I notice, he can hit. I've said it in the past where I feel he is the one catcher in the system right now that has one prospect they've had that has legitimate starter potential. Jesus Rodriguez is probably now a second guy in the system, and Jesus is obviously closer. And Patrick Bailey is still going to continue to start, but just guys down in the system that I feel like have that potential to be a starting catcher one day at the major league level. Guys like Adrian Sagasti, I feel is a backup. Same with O'Neill Perez. I feel like their best case is going to be as a backup. I really like Kavanagh as a prospect. Now, the first thing is, like I said, he can hit, and he has a really good approach where he's going to hit line drives and he'll get the ball in the air and he hits for some power and it goes to all fields. He wore out the left center gap. He did still pull some balls, pulled some over the fence, pulled them down the line, pulled them into the gap in right center. You'll see that as all these highlights are running for you. You can see the all fields power. You can see him drive the ball into the gaps. Hit a ball into left center, I believe in Eugene. That was 108 mile an hour ball to the opposite way over the fence for a homer. So, you can see the all fields power that comes with Drew Cavanaugh. Now, mixing in his defense, he's going to be a below average runner. I think he's a catcher. That's expected. But with his defense, the other thing I noticed, a bit of a work in progress behind the plate. Now he did when he was in college in the D2, he won a kind of the D2 Golden Glove for catchers there. He looks comfortable back there. I think that's the best way I can put it. He looks comfortable. There's some things mechanically that I'm not overly fond of, mainly around the one knee down. He does have his body pretty turned oftentimes as a receiver. I don't feel like he's in the best position to block balls at all times. That would be a critique I have. Now, as a framer, he looks fine and comfortable. without seeing the data, it's hard to really know relative to the rest of the league there, but he looks comfortable there. His arm, I don't think he has the greatest arm, but he has a really quick release for throwing runners out. So he gives himself a chance, but it's not always the strongest or most accurate. Just very quick release. Bailey does that a little bit sometimes. Now, Bailey's obviously on the way higher end of that, but with Bailey, you see that where he gets the ball out of his hands sometimes so fast, but a little bit of a scatter shot at times. So he'll throw off different platforms. He'll sidearm it. He'll do whatever he can to get that ball out of his hands quick and give himself a shot at a guy that's stealing a bag, but doesn't necessarily have the greatest, most accurate arm. So that's kind of what I've seen out of him so far. Unfortunately, we don't have any scouting grades because he wasn't the highest ranked player. So there's not a lot of scouts grades out there for his, different raw skills. I do feel like he's got above average power. I feel like, if I was just going off the Cody 2080 grading scale, I feel like his hit tool is probably around a 50. His power is a 50 or 55. As a runner, you're looking at like a 40. And then arm, I think it's probably 45 ish, but his release maybe bumps that up to a 50 because he does get it out of his hand pretty fast. And then as a receiver, it's probably 45 ish right now. I do think he can definitely improve. That's just kind of how I view him. When I'm watching him, but I really like him as a prospect. I think they've got something with Drew Cavanaugh. I think that's an excellent pick, especially the value of getting him as a 17th rounder. I think is tremendous. So that's the Kavanagh breakdown. We'll be back with Giancarlo Sio probably in a couple weeks here. We're going to, like I mentioned, we're going to have 2 of them per month for sure. If we hit a spot where we get a little bit ahead of these, where we can maybe add a third in a month, we'll definitely do that. Expect to see content from Dan and Ricky a lot this offseason. You'll be seeing stuff from them. The Discord channel is going to be up hopefully as soon as possible. So be ready for that. And yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoy it. Tell your friends. We can't wait to keep producing more content for you guys and do all this extra stuff. We're really excited for it, as you can tell. So go Giants, and we'll catch you guys next time.